Congratulations to the class of 2026. And congratulations to the people who made this day possible. Your family, your friends, your mentors, your preds, and your professors. Before I was a politician, I was a public school teacher. I taught 6th grade language arts at Rose Middle School on the west side of San Antonio. I often say teaching middle school is the best preparation for politics. The west side of San Antonio is a beautiful, historic neighborhood. It's also one of the poorest zip codes in the entire state of Texas, a neighborhood not unlike Highland Hills. My students weren't just kids, they were survivors, dreamers, fighters. I saw it in their eyes, something unyielding, something unshakable. I see the same thing in your eyes. As a former teacher, I am so proud of each and every one of you. And I am so honored to be here at Paul Quinn College. Paul Quinn was not started by politicians. It was built by black preachers holding classes in church basements and living rooms just 7 years after emancipation came to Texas. For 154 years, Quinnites have been guided by a deep moral commitment to all of God's children, regardless of their skin color or their zip code. Yes. This place has spiritual roots. This place is rooted in faith, in service, and in love. Today, I want to invite all of you to live out of those roots. When this school fell on hard times, God sent a teacher, a leader, a visionary, Dr. Michael Sorrell. Dr. Sorrell returned this school to its roots. He doubled down on serving the poor and the marginalized. He transformed this college into one of the best HBCUs in the country. And sparked a revolution in higher education in the process. I'm reminded of the words of Scripture. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. In this new world, Dr. Sorrell is building all who have been counted out, all who have been left behind, all who have been forgotten. The stones the builders rejected will be the cornerstone. A revolution from below. Because in the words of Dr. Sorrell himself, in the history of mankind, how many revolutions have started from above? You may not believe that a world rooted in faith, service, and love is possible. In your short lives, you've seen a pandemic and an insurrection, natural disasters and artificial intelligence, mass shootings and mass deportations, all piped through your screen into your souls. You have scrolled through more suffering, more division, more chaos than any generation in human history. You've grown up in an economy that isn't built for you. The American dream is on life support. 90% of baby boomers went on to earn more money than their parents. For millennials like me, it's 50%. And for Gen Z, it's even lower. And we know that black Texans have 10 times less wealth and are half as likely to own a home. This current cost of living crisis is the culmination of 50 years of trickle-down economics. 50 years of the top 1% rigging this economic system and this political system for their own benefit at our expense. Young people can't afford to buy a home, but Jeff Bezos has 12. Young people can't afford to fill up their gas tank, but Mark Zuckerberg is launching helicopters from his mega yacht. Young people pay more than their fair share of income taxes, but someone like Elon Musk can get away without paying a penny. All of this has left your generation disillusioned.
Yes.
Disillusionment has a bad reputation, but being disillusioned means being free from illusions, to see reality,
Yes.
to know the truth. As painful as it may be, your disillusionment is a superpower. You can see the world as it is and dream of the way it ought to be.
Yes.
Listen to the poetry of Langston Hughes. I am so tired of waiting, aren't you, for the world to become good and beautiful and kind. Let us take a knife and cut the world in two to see what worms are eating at the rind. We are living in an era of corruption. When I say corruption, I don't just mean illegal activity. I mean corruption in the deeper sense, the rotting of something from the inside.
Yes.
Politicians serving billionaire mega donors instead of their constituents. That's political corruption. The top 1% owning more wealth than the entire middle class. That's economic corruption. For-profit social media algorithms sowing division in our communities and turning neighbor against neighbor. That's social corruption. Our systems are rotting from the inside out. The ties that bind us together are unraveling. The most powerful people in this country are profiting off our pain, profiting off our division, profiting off our disconnection from one another. This is, at its root, a spiritual crisis, and it will require a spiritual solution. The author Bell Hooks wrote, "A culture that is dead to love can only be resurrected by a spiritual awakening." We've seen these spiritual awakenings happen in America. Historians have identified four. In the 1730s, America's first Great Awakening shook the religious establishment and reminded ordinary people of their own spiritual power. In the early 1800s, the Second Great Awakening gave birth to the abolitionist movement and the fight for women's rights. In the late 1800s, the Third Great Awakening produced the social gospel, which inspired the labor movement and the New Deal. And in the 1960s, the Fourth Great Awakening gave us the Civil Rights Movement, liberation theology, and the Great Society. These spiritual awakenings occur roughly every 70 years, moments when political instability, economic inequality, and social upheaval lead people to look inward, to reclaim old traditions, to live out of their roots. I believe we are on the verge of a new great awakening. And I believe you are going to lead it. I'm an elderly millennial. I can't stay up past 10 p.m. My joints ache, and my younger cousins call me cringe. They also call me unk, whatever that means. But Gen Z, freed from illusions, is uniquely suited to lead us at this moment. Many of you grew up on the For You page. The endless scroll is emblematic of what humans have been doing for hundreds of thousands of years, searching. If we scroll past one more tweet, one more TikTok, maybe we'll find what we're looking for. The one that will make us feel something. But what you're looking for can't be found in artificial platforms run by billionaires. It is within you. In addition to my public service, I'm a student in seminary, studying to become a minister like my granddad, who was a Baptist preacher in South Texas. Part of seminary is learning how to read the Bible in its original Greek and Hebrew. In my first year, I was looking at the word for faith and saw that many times it's translated as belief, but it can also be translated as trust. When you define faith that way, you realize we all have a faith of some kind, because we all put our trust in something. What do you put your ultimate trust in? Money? Status? Power? In other words, what are we living for? I'm not talking about a belief system, I'm talking about a life system. During the Great Depression, Harvard researchers began one of the longest studies on human life ever conducted. 80 years, thousands of participants. They were seeking the answer to one question: what makes a good life? Their answer was surprising. The key to happiness wasn't income, it wasn't fame, it wasn't status, it was relationships. Their findings suggest the only thing deserving of our ultimate trust is love. The great faith traditions of the world are all trying to tell us the same thing: that we are made by love, with love, to love. Faith at its best is falling in love with everything all at once. If we think back to childhood, so much of our happiness was just being present. I became an uncle 3 years ago. My baby niece Jane is fascinated by the most boring things: a bug, a fork, a cloud. She can't get over it. At her age, it's all wonder and awe. If I had one piece of advice for you, it would be to stop. To stop what you're doing. To stop your hurry. To stop your scrolling. Just stop and look around with a child's eyes. I love this line from a great American novel, The Color Purple. I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field somewhere and don't notice it. People think pleasing God is all God cares about. But any fool living in the world can see it always trying to please us back. I'm not asking you to search for something out there. I'm asking you to notice what's all around. I'm not asking you to believe something new. I'm asking you to trust something that's already inside of you. I'm not asking you to join an organized religion. I'm asking you to join something bigger than yourself. Find a spiritual practice that works for you, whether it's meditation or fasting, gardening or bird watching, whether it's in a church or a temple or a book club or a neighborhood group. Find a community that can help you touch the ground of your own being. We're all expressions of a mystery, the riddle of our existence. That sacred something. You may call it God or the cosmos or love. It doesn't really matter, but if at the end of a long day you find yourself in a moment of silence, say thank you. It just might be listening. How would our world be different if we truly saw all human beings as expressions of a divine source, as bearers of a sacred image? If we saw every human being as our sibling, if we realized we are all members of one body. Paul Quinn shows us what that world would look like. The ethos here is simple: we over me. In the Quinnite nation, you are not allowed to be selfish. Selfish people destroy the fabric of communities. They are the root of all evil and will never be tolerated in the Quinnite nation. That ethos is countercultural. Our culture is all about ego. More followers, more status, more money. We're encouraged to be the center of the universe. But being the center of the universe is exhausting, and it's an illusion. We are a branch on the tree, a wave in the ocean. We exist for a fleeting moment, then rejoin the whole. Look at yourself, at your fingers and hands. Do you look? If the answer is no, then the question becomes, how do you want to spend yourself? What do you want to give? How do you want to use those hands? Dr. King said, everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. The most effective social movement, the civil rights movement, the labor movement, the farm workers movement, grew from spiritual roots. Freedom riders sang hymns, organizers fasted, protesters prayed. Faith leads us to service, and then service leads us back to faith. Dr. Sorrell talked about the importance of prayer in sustaining his work. Then he said, I get up off my knees and start swinging. We all need to start swinging against the injustices surrounding us. Yes. A few weeks ago, an Amazon worker died while working in one of Amazon's warehouses. And as he lay on the floor dying, management told the other workers, just turn around and don't look. Get back to work. Get back to work. That was a human being. That was a child of God. That was our sibling sacrificed on the altar of corporate greed. Don't conform to this world. It is not healthy to assimilate in a sick system. I know we're here at your college, but I'm asking you to question everything you've been told at school or at work or at church, and certainly anything you hear from a politician. Reject anything that makes you less human. A different world is possible. What if we built systems that brought out the best in us? Yes. What if we invested the same resources into peace that we invest into war? What if the only hunger was for justice? Yes. According to James Baldwin, wherever human beings are, we at least have a chance, because we're not only disasters, we're also miracles. You are a miracle. Everything conspired to create you. There has never been anyone in the history of the universe like you, and there never will be again. You have a gift to give. It may be big, it may be small, it may be valued by society, it may not. Howard Thurman wrote, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go do it. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. You, class of 2026, are the light of the world. In confusing times, let your wisdom shine. Yes. In artificial times, let your authenticity shine. In cruel times, let your love shine. Yes. Scripture tells us all of creation will be shaken, so that only unshakable things will remain. The world as we know it is shaking. The old certainties, the old institutions, the old corruption. The old world is dying and a new one is struggling to be born. In the rubble of this shaken world, you'll find the stones the builders rejected. The people who have been told they're too poor, too different, too young to matter. You will be the cornerstone of a new world built on unshakable things: faith, service, and love. Live out of those roots, the roots that run through this place, started by Black preachers after emancipation, leading a revolution from below. Speaking of roots, Questlove once said, "How do you plan a rebirth? I'm not sure you do. You just stand in the darkness until you can't endure it any longer. And then you move forward until you're standing in the light." We are on the verge of a new Great Awakening, and your generation, with disillusionment as your superpower, will lead us. Fall in love with everything all at once. Touch the ground of your being. Remember, you are an expression of a sacred something. Then get off your knees and start swinging. Congratulations, class.